Nomad Gamers. If you look down at the bottom of our screen, you're going to see all the social medias that we are on. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitch. We are on Kick. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. What I need you to do, I need you to please go over to whatever social media that you are catching the Nomad Gamers on. Please hit the follow button. Turn on your notifications. That way, every single time that the Nomad Gamers are coming live at you, you are being notified. If you enjoy the content that you see today, or you enjoy any of our content, please share us. This way, the good word is getting out to everybody else, and you are helping us create this community that we are trying to create. So, thank you for your support. Now, let's get into the topics of the day. Fireball, what do we got?
Start with Crest Rider. I'm still trying to work something out.
Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. Oh, also, welcome to our new official time slot. 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I think this works out a lot better for all of us.
Yeah, the previous time slot was getting a little tight on getting everything going for the day, and before you knew it, it was already time to hit the podcast. It was kind of cutting right into the bulk of everybody's trying to get caught up on stuff on the weekend time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we kind of moved to an hour before prime time, but here we are. So, Crest Rider, what do we have today?
I got a couple of things that kind of follow in with my usual. First of all, we had the next phase of Legion Remix go live this week after an extended maintenance. It also happened to coincide with the Turbo Boost catch-up for Season 3 of The War Within. So they had both sides of retail World of Warcraft getting updated at the same time, and it was kind of a fiasco. Maintenance ran for far longer than anyone wanted it to. It was supposed to be a 4-hour maintenance. It ended up being, I think, an 8-hour maintenance by the time the servers came back online.
Wow.
That adds the second phase of Legion Remix, so now people can explore the rest of the Suramar storyline. They can do the Nighthold raid, Return to Karazhan dungeon. So more content to experience there, and in 2 weeks it'll drop the next section. The Turbo Boost event now for normal and higher dungeon. Once a week you can get a quest. The first time gives you 3 tokens. They're like puzzling cartel chips, I think they're called. And you could turn them into a vendor for a piece of gear from a boss or a dungeon that you have already completed.
Ooh.
On at least normal difficulty for the dungeons, and I think a mythic difficulty for the raids. Or for, I had that backwards. Normal for raid, mythic for dungeon.
Okay.
And they're it starts off as heroic tier or heroic pieces of gear, but if you've done the raids on mythic or I think plus 12 mythic dungeons, you could then get a mythic piece of gear, which is far stronger. The frustrating part is when they did this in Season 2, you could get credit for the boss kills and the looking for raid queue. This time you have to be in normal in order to be able to get credit. So all of the casuals that don't have a raid team just got kind of tossed to the side on that one, and there are some people that are not pleased about that. It's also not very alt-friendly. I've got 2 characters that I've been raiding with, 2 characters that could get the pieces of gear. All the rest of my alts can't get a thing.
And that is awfully aggravating too.
Yeah.
The entire thing behind alts in World of Warcraft is to get them just as powerful as your main.
They have been done some really weird things Like the entire Legion remix is rather unfriendly to alts. Leveling them up, yeah, that's fine. You've got a stacking experience bonus that the more you play in Legion remix, the faster you're gonna be able to level subsequent characters. But when it comes to gearing them, you start just same scratch. And in fact, a lot of times because the alts have leveled so quick, their gear is actually really far. Causing a lot of drama with mod developers, or add-on developers, because they've taken the stance that add-ons are the enemy, and especially combat add-ons. So they started off, they basically blocked almost all add-ons, and they're slowly walking that back. But they've got this idea that add-ons are the reason that raids are as complex as they are, because they've been trying to keep ahead of the add-ons to make content difficult, where people keep creating add-ons to make it easier to handle. So now they're going to be blocking most of the add-on content
That's
to the
gonna
point
piss off a
where
lot of people.
it is, and mod developers are coming out going, no, I'm not even making an update anymore. I'm putting the entire development of this on hold. LVUI, an extremely popular add-on for replacing your action bars and just your entire user interface, came out and said, all of my stuff is blocked. I can't do anything. I'm not putting out a version for now unless they fix this. So it's causing a lot of issues there. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. I use a lot of add-ons, but most of mine are like quality of life, give me some more information, but it doesn't make any decisions for me. So it's still going to be interesting to see how many of mine survive. Like I've got one that I'm very fond of called Tomcat's Tours. Right now I'm using it even as we speak because it marks all the locations of the candy buckets for the Hollow's End event, the Halloween event in World of Warcraft. Makes it real easy for me to look at my mini-map and be like, all right, nearest one, I got to go that direction.
Yeah.
Yep.
But right now in the next expansion, a lot of that stuff is still blocked because it's reading information from the game and then presenting it. They're trying to find the balance to block the combat add-ons but allow players to have the stuff that they're needing. Healers are also in a rough sort because most healers use some form of either raid plate or healer assist add-on to create essentially mouse over macros without creating the macro itself. I use Healbot. It gives me the ability to, when I mouse over a raid frame, depending on how I click it, whether I left click, right click, middle click, mouse 4 or 5, and then using shift, control, and alt as modifiers, I can cast quite a few different spells. I think I've got 15 different spells at my disposal using those buttons. Even more than that because you can do combinations of the modifiers. I've got like 30 spells I can cast.
I don't think we ever covered it because I've always heard you talk about WoW and stuff like that. What do you play as?
I play as a number of different classes.
Because I always hear because like you talk about raiding and we talked about raiding a lot with you. Are you a tank? I know you said you're a healer, but tank, DP, what is your main go-to?
In raids currently I am playing as a demon hunter and as a monk, both in damage dealing specs. I have raided as every class. I've raided as almost every spec over the years.
So, but your go-to would probably be DPS, correct?
It used to be. More often than not now, I find myself in either a tank or healer role just because I don't feel like waiting. So the content that I pursue, I jump in and I take on one of the the more niche roles just to get in there and do it. Let somebody else have the damage slot, and off we go.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
I was always curious, and I mean, I feel like Godfather at certain points probably was curious.
My go-to just happy place character has been for quite some time a protection warrior.
Mm.
Because the last time they did a remix event, I finally figured out how to play warrior, and something just clicked with them, and they were so stupidly fun to play that when Blizzard said that Drakthir could branch out from just being evokers into having other classes, I made a Drakthir warrior. And now I have a warrior that has wings.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really funny when you get hit by a knockback and your character just pops their wings out wide and catches the air and goes, "No, you can't knock me back."
Because I know this was probably 10, 11 years ago, Godfather.
About that.
When we were in it, my go-to was either a rogue or death knight. Gauze's
I've played as a Death Knight.
Gauze's was paladin.
I started the game as a paladin.
I started World of Warcraft as a warrior. That account went away. In my new account, my main was a paladin. My one alt, which was kind of like my favorite alt, was a hunter, and then everything below that was just kind of like I've done my dailies on my main. I've done my dailies on my main alt. This is just kind of for fun.
Because I know, and then I know.
I have kind of figured out that my two favorite classes to play as a general just catch all is either a paladin or a druid.
Yeah.
And that's because they can do all three roles. Druid has the added advantage of being able to switch from either melee DPS to ranged DPS caster.
And I know Sweet Kitty, her main was a rogue, but she loved dabbling in druid.
Druids are a lot of fun. I mean, back in the day, the druids were kind of the jack of all trades, master of none. But they changed that when they added a fourth specialization to druids, and they took your feral tree from being kind of a mix of a tank or a feral cat to splitting that out to guardian being your bear form and feral being your cat. Now they're highly specialized in whatever spec they're in. So they are very effective at what they do as well. And they bring a lot to the table.
You know, I will say this. This is, I think, the longest we went about talking about WoW.
Yeah.
That's because the conversation went from what's happening in game to now we're getting into some of the details about the game.
Yep. Yeah, WoW. I always say that WoW is the granddaddy of internet-based games. Because when it came out, there was not a lot of
The
games in that.
EverQuest players in the
Yeah.
what is it, Ultima Online or
Well, I mean,
they're,
when Diablo was very, very popular, I don't know if its popularity has declined, but I'm not hearing much about it anymore. That was like WoW's main competitor, or World of Warcraft. It was Diablo. Now, when I think, and I might be wrong, and I could very well be wrong. Sometimes I'm very wrong, but its popularity just kind of went down. So I only heard of Diablo 3, and then I haven't heard of Diablo 4. I haven't heard of nothing else. But with World
that's
of Warcraft,
because Diablo 4 launched as a games as a service game.
Live service
And they kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one, because when your game launches and everything in it looks like crap because you've got all the good looking stuff in the store for $25 an armor set.
yeah,
They really
greedy.
shot themselves in the foot on that.
Yep, they got greedy. But I think what WoW's strength is that it doesn't release a whole new game. It adds on to what it already had. And when they seen that their numbers were starting to drop pretty drastically, That's when you've seen WoW turn it around and give players the option to just play vanilla. Just play vanilla and Burning Crusades. Just play this, from vanilla to this extension and no more.
Players argued for years that they wanted to go back and experience the original OG World of Warcraft. Prior to Burning Crusade coming out, they wanted the original 1 to 60 experience, and Blizzard kept going, you don't want that. You think you want it, but we know what that actually was like, and you're just looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. You don't actually want it. And then they started having all of these private servers pop up, and players were getting into them, and Blizzard kept trying to shut them down. They just kept coming back. Finally, they got a hold of the biggest one out there and had those guys come to Blizzard's headquarters and sit down with them. And I don't know the details of what they talked about, but they came out of it and they went, all right, we're going to do World of Warcraft Classic. So clearly that team brought enough to the table in their argument to be like, look, this is how many players we've got. This is what people are doing. This is how we did it. Because they didn't save the source code and the server code and stuff. They had to re-engineer all of that. Because nobody ever thought back when the game first came out of, hey, we need to save a copy of this data because we're going to need to revisit it someday. Nobody did that back then. Oh, there goes he went inactive again. We got to change the setting on the server to stop idle timer.
Yep, it's exactly what it did. Is it idle timer and was like, "You are idle. Is anybody there?"
So,
but
you know what it was?
Just they got Classic out, and it's been going from there. What?
You don't really need to know what they said behind closed doors, because Blizzard is just like any other company. Blizzard all of a sudden seen that they could make money off of bringing just vanilla back.
That was actually pretty much what it boiled down to, is by including it in the same subscription.
Yep.
Now they've got people who would otherwise get bored and quit mid to end season of retail because they're like, I've done everything I want to do. I'm bored. Now some of them, instead of dropping their subscription, they're going over to Classic and sticking around. And that's more months of sub pay.
Yeah.
Or they're trying the hardcore server on going for that. They're trying Season of Discovery, which I believe has technically wrapped up, but the servers are still live. And those will get sunset eventually, but Blizzard has said something about, there's going to be further, Classic Plus experiences down the line where they're going to do something. And I always thought when they put the Classic server out, it was just going to be Classic. And then they moved it into Burning Crusade, and I got kind of frustrated with that. And then they moved it into the Wrath of the Lich King, and I was like, okay, go there and just stop. And then they moved into Cataclysm, and I'm like, you just defeated the purpose because we wanted the pre-Cata world. Yes. But then they relaunched some servers in the 20th anniversary, that are slated to move into Burning Crusade eventually. They're still putting phases out for that. They haven't moved on expansions yet. I don't know what the time frame is on that, but they haven't said anything about that eventually going to Cataclysm or Wrath of the Lich King. I would love to just see a server that just stays on Classic. And I know people get bored of raiding eventually. They have started to create Classic Plus content for a dedicated Classic server. And I believe there was some talk about that coming out. Now, China went off and they're doing their whole, just some major Classic Plus content. And a lot of the North American and European players are like, hey, Blizzard, where's ours? And Blizzard's like, I got nothing to do with that. So there was a little bit of ruffled feathers on that front, but I mean, at the same time, that's China doing China things. Yep. And
now I will say, being a World of Warcraft player I didn't start until Wrath King, okay? Or Wrath of the Wrath of the Lynch King. Uh, so I grew up in the vanilla world, and I was there for the Cataclysm. And I will tell you right now that looking back at it, I was very excited for Cataclysm to come out. However, I was very disappointed in some of the things that they did to the world. Some of the areas that they absolutely, utterly destroyed because they were fun areas to be in. And they kind of forced you to go into other areas. And I was like,
some of their changes were fantastic. The
some were,
smoothing out of
yes.
quest lines,
Yes.
making it so it was a smoother flow was great. They removed certain things like having to adventure across the world to, you get a quest in Ungoro and you have to go all the way up to Stone Talon or Desolus to do the next step of it, and then you come back and it's like a lot of people didn't like that. I absolutely loved just being in the world and traveling.
Yes.
They took out quest lines for characters. There were some Super Mario references and Legend of Zelda references in some of the quest lines. Those characters are no longer in the game. They've been gone since Cataclysm launched.
Talking about the whole quest, like fetch quests where
I hated those.
you start in one spot and you have to go all the way to the other side of the map. I always didn't like those as a kid because, my parents would start that quest and then be like, all right, now I'm gonna be flying for now I have to take the flight path all the way down here. That's gonna take like 15, 20 minutes. All right, kids, let's knock out some housework while I'm flying.
You didn't always have a flight path. Sometimes you just had to hoof it. And back then, depending on what level you were, you didn't even have a mount until level 40 out of 60.
Well, I think
so. You were just running.
I think what Fireball was talking about was like if you were at Stormfall or Stormwind, I'm sorry, and you were to pick up a quest there and you had to fly through Ironforge and I haven't been in Azeroth in a long time, so forgive me for misplacing some names, but you had to go north of Ironforge, like way. There was times when you would get to the mount, the server mount, pay your gold to go from Stormwind to wherever. You'd fly into Ironforge and the bird would land and then like take off again. And it would literally take 20 minutes. And what he's talking about is during that time
I get what he's talking about, but there's a stage that you guys weren't aware of because of when you started. You said you started in Wrath of the Lich King.
Yes.
And there was a
I know
time
what you're talking about. Yeah, when
there
you
was a
just
time prior to Burning Crusade when you didn't get to go multiple steps on a flight path in one go.
No.
You would fly to a spot, land, and have to take off again.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of open world PvP opportunities.
Yes, it
especially in Classic when you were trying to get up to the Western Plaguelands and you would pop from Ironforge up to South Shore as Alliance or Tarn Mill down to one of the zones down there as Horde. So you'd be coming up, they'd be coming down, and you'd end up stopping in those points. And every once in a while, you'd discover that a member of the opposite faction was just sitting there waiting for you to land.
Just waiting for anybody from the other faction to land. They didn't care who.
And there was nothing worse than having taken off on that flight path, and you see in the world defense, South Shore is under attack, and you're they just killed the flight master. Son of a. You know you're about to land in it, and there's nothing you can do.
You are coming in hot. We are not making a landing. You're making a jump. And oh, by the way, you better be ready for combat as soon as your feet hit the ground because it's going to be game
Oh no!
on.
As soon as your feet hit the ground, before you could even react, somebody who was 25 levels above you had already cleaved your head off your shoulders.
Yep. Because
and then you're just looking at them from the graveyard, making dirty faces because you know there's nothing you got to do. So you're calling in local defense. You're calling in your guilds. Somebody come get this guy, and then next thing you know, there's a gigantic set of two armies beating the snot out of each other in the fields between the two towns.
Yep. And the thing about it is you would land, and like sometimes I was a part of that raiding group that would go into, at the time I was Alliance, I would run into a horde city or a horde village, and myself, Sweet Kitty Pie, Tiger,
I can't tell you how many times
Dustin.
I had to call in the cavalry because that happened to me. And like I'm sitting there trying to level up, and I get jumped, and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm being bullied.
Yeah, there was a lot of there was a lot.
I
of
suppose
times,
you was just a little boy at the time.
Yeah, he was. A lot of the times, a big group of us would go into a village, and as Alliance, and we would take it over. I was with a guild called the Damned, and we would go in. Dustin, Isabel, myself, Sweet Kitty Pie, Tiger. We go in, and the very first thing that we would do, whoever was the highest level, we would smoke the flight master, and then we would park right there. Anybody coming in was fair freaking game. And then while we had the flight out and the flight in covered, everybody else was running roughshod in that village. And Crest Rider is completely correct. There was times, and I was not a part of this, but my good friend, I always use his gamer tag, Tiger. He said that at one point in time there was a guild fight that was so large that it crashed the server. Like it was like a wave going out of either Stormwind or Orgrimmar, but it was like a wave coming back and forth, and so many guilds converged that they crashed the server. And I don't know if that's folklore. You know what I'm trying to say.
Folklore.
Yeah, whatever. Folklore. That's what I wanted to say. Or if that was actual reality. I don't know which one it was, but he said that battle was massive, and it was guilds that normally did not get along, or guilds that normally did not work together. But I don't know which side started it, but the Alliance wasn't letting the Horde go any farther, and the Horde wasn't letting the Alliance go any farther. Talking about human players, they wouldn't let the other faction win, and they just kept going, and that server crashed.
So you would have. I mean, there was no cross realm.
Nope.
You existed in a universe that was just your server.
Yep.
So your reputation mattered.
Yep.
And you would go in and you would do something, and you would log into the World of Warcraft forums for your realm the next day or even an hour later, and you'd have a thread calling you out for what you did. And if you started doing just complete dickish stuff, if you ninja looted an item from a raid and quit the guild, that got posted.
Yeah.
You had a reputation, and if you got known as somebody who wasn't reliable, nobody would invite you to anything. Nowadays, people don't care because it's cross server. You'll never see that guy again. They do whatever they want.
And that's wrong. They need to close those servers down.
When I was leveling, well, they created them because the server populations were getting so sparse. People were having trouble doing enough content. So they linked them all together so that the players could play and do stuff. And they've kind of reached a healthy medium, but some of the systems were never designed for what they do. They make it work.
I do know because it happened to me. I wasn't an end game player on World of Warcraft. I was more of casual to sometimes raiding when Sweet Kitty Pie needed a little bit. Pretty much, she needed a dumbass to go in there and get whacked while she did whatever she was doing. But I did a lot of PvP. Oh, check our comments.
I have been.
And one time, I was out doing something and the horde put a freaking bounty on my head. Like whenever you see him, you drop him.
Oh, I remember this. You got greenlit because of something mom did.
Yep. And then on top of that, I was playing with the number one enemy of the horde. So every time I was running with him, it was like
well, it was
like a fly on crack. Like they would smell us coming and away they go.
well, and the thing was with that is it was you had Tiger and you had Kitty, and they were sitting there. They were the like Tiger could tank a hit. Kitty came out of nowhere and was really great at DPS. And then you had Godfather there that would like they'd sit there and go, they'd look into a room, they'd be like, all right, kick him in. And they'd kick you in there, and then everybody would jump you, and then they would come into the rescue.
Yep. All right, so we've spent a lot of time on
Oh my
World of
God,
Warcraft.
I think we could spend an entire episode going over,
Oh,
how-
I've still got stories from the classic days, and maybe someday we'll have to do a special episode just of memories on that. Maybe for the 21st anniversary of World of Warcraft in a week, we'll set aside a time and sit down and record a video
let's do that
rather than do it as part of the podcast.
And that way I can go back and look at the map and refresh my memory of the locations from pre-cataclysm and after cataclysm, and we can go from there. But we do have breaking news this week that I really want to get to, because all three of us are active players for this franchise, or were at one point in time.
Wait. You mean Godfather's actually got news to bring to the table? God damn it!
Maybe you should touch your mouse once in a while.
Hey, you know what that was, Fireball? You know what that
Comedic
was?
timing?
Yeah.
Besides that, you know what that was?
What?
That was karma for talking shit about Godfather.
Well, I mean, hey,
that was karma.
Bring up. All right, bring up your news. What news are you talking about?
Yeah, he's embarrassed now, so bring up the news.
No. I want to hear this news that Godfather's brought to the table.
So,
he doesn't bring anything to the table.
Fallout Day was Thursday.
Yep, happy Fallout Day.
Yes.
What is it, 10/22?
Yeah, well, you're 2 days later, pal. But anyways, Thirsty Thursday was on Fallout Day. And Bethesda, in their infinite wisdom, and it's not really infinite, but they announced the anniversary relaunch of Fallout New Vegas for the PC and Fallout 4. Now, in grand Bethesda fashion, you got two tiers. You got just the game, which I'm sure is like $79.99. I really don't know. And then you've got a collector's edition where you get all these items. Now, here's the problem with these items, in my eyes, and the Nomads are gonna chime in when I'm done. But number one, they're not really collector's items. If they were collector's items, it would be for a limited edition.
That's collector's item.
Number two, it's only coming out for PC for like New Vegas. I agree with one comment that I had Thursday was Bethesda's now using Fallout for a cash cow, just like they did with Elder Scrolls.
Well, and it's like, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that meme where that farmer's got like 6 different buckets, and there's a cow that's like looks like it's very skinny on its last leg, and it's like, I gotta get one more bucket out of you, girl. That's how it kind of feels with Fallout, especially with Fallout 4. You know, Fallout 4's 7-year-old game, 8-year-old game, something like that.
No,
Came out.
It's almost 10 years old.
Came out, I think. Yeah, you're right.
It came out, I believe, 15 or 16. I think 16.
15.
15, yeah, it was 15.
Yeah, it was 15. Because, and it's just like, And that's the problem that Bethesda has right now is they keep relying on their old games and they're not releasing any new IP or at least no new titles. And it's like you can't keep going off of this nostalgia factor, going off the fact that they're going to keep buying the same game because
Well, let me ask you this, Fireball. Why would you re-release an anniversary edition of Fallout 4? And by the way, it's only digital when you already own Fallout 4. Why would you go buy an anniversary one?
that's what I was about to ask.
Like,
Is there
it doesn't make any sense to me.
is there any new content to it?
No, there isn't.
Is there anything special about this anniversary edition
No,
besides the fact that you're going to get a collectible?
no. Now, what I did hear, and I'm sure Crest Rider is looking this up as we speak, if I know Crest Rider at all. But
I was actually messing with the Discord server's idle timer.
oh,
I upped it to an hour, so.
okay.
Thank you.
Uh,
What was it at? What was it at? 10 minutes?
15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So the Fallout New Vegas Collector's Edition, I hear that the statue's actually kind of big, like 3 foot tall or something like that.
Okay.
But my problem with that is this, okay? You can't call it a collector's edition when you sell 1 million of these damn things, okay? And that's a fictitious number there. They have not sold 1 million, at least not to my knowledge. But the possibility is there. A collector's edition.
They will create and sell as many of these as they possibly can.
Yes.
It's not a limited edition
No.
thing. It's a hey, we're going to capitalize on the fact that
Yes.
this franchise or this particular game has reached a magical milestone. And we're going to try and make some money off of that.
Yes.
And
That's all this is.
This is the one thing that like really irritates me talking about just digital edition. There are so many games out there that have a physical copy that come with a special like case with that game. Like you had
back in the day, a steelbook case was a very common collector's edition feature.
Mm-hmm. Or like when Fallout 3 had Game of the Year, you know, you had this Game of the Year booklet that came with it. Or like this entire
I remember the Fallout 3 collector's edition. It came in a the lunchbox.
Yeah. Or
I remember seeing them at the store.
And I think we may still have it around here somewhere. It's been a while since I've seen it, but Godfather had the giant like Vault Dweller's Guide to Fallout 3.
Yeah, it's over on the other side.
It was a hardback it was a hardback book that literally had every single thing you wanted to know about Fallout 3. All the side quests, all the main quests,
love
all the
players'
collections.
guides.
Like that's a collector's item right there. That's something that would be really cool.
Yeah, it's actually packed up. It's out of sight, out of mind. Only because someday it's gonna be one. But here's my one problem with this collector's edition. Okay, a collector's edition, you need to have a hard end to it. Number 1 through, let's go 1,000. Okay, 1 through 1,000. You can try for 1,001, but it doesn't exist. Because then over time, with fires or natural disasters or whatever the case may be, they get limited. They get limited, and by the time you know it, there's only 7 known in existence.
Mm-hmm.
Then the dollar amount goes way up, but you can't call it a collector if you made 4, 5, 6 million of them. That's the same with baseball cards. Okay? Baseball cards is the most common thing that I can think of when I say this. Every baseball card has a number on it. Topps, Donruss, Fleer, Upper Deck, all of them. Mickey Mantle card. I've been on this earth for 47 years. Huge baseball collector. Huge. I got bats from the Cubs. I've got all cleats. You name it, I probably have it. I just maybe 2 months ago saw my very first authentic Mickey Mantle card. The damn thing's probably worth $7 million. And I got to hold it in my hand. By the way, big shout out to my brother for letting me see it. I'm not going to say his name because, yeah, it's a security risk. But
and
that's
I like collecting
I mean, like, I know you guys
the
can probably,
Mists of Pandaria Player's Guide.
I know you guys can probably see it back here, but like this is a collector's item,
is it numbered?
probably inside of it. But like
I have
this, like, if, and this is just an example, if Bethesda came out and said, hey, with every copy of Fallout 4 Anniversary, we're going to give away a T60 helmet. A limited amount of people are going to get a T60 helmet. Let's say the first 100,000 people to pre-order Fallout 4 Anniversary, you're gonna get a T60 helmet in the mail. That would be something, you know.
That's collecting.
Not only would you get, I don't know if you can hear me. Not only
when
would
Fallout-
you get, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
Not only would you get more hype around it because you are getting some sort of, you know, incentive of like, I want to be that first 100,000 to get it. You're getting a limited edition. You're getting something out of it. On top of that, you know, like God's Father said, it's only digital. Get a hard case copy. Bring out a hard case. You know, a steel hard case. You know, have like, and you can, and this is just my brain playing with it though. But you get mail when you get your hard case in the mail, or you go to pick up your hard case. Have like a different faction insignia on it. Like you got the Minutemen insignia, you got the Institute insignia etched into the hard case. You've got the Brotherhood insignia. Have something like that to where you could collect
Now-
every single insignia for that hard case.
You're making a
I
collection.
hate stuff like that.
Well, yeah, so do I, because you drive yourself nuts trying to find it.
But
But
Well,
Fireball's
when
on
they're
something.
super expensive to begin with, and then you've got to collect all 5 or collect all 4 or whatever. And invariably, one of them is rarer than the rest, and that is the one that is valuable, and all the others are just junk.
But
And only a complete set that has all of them would be the mega bucks. Everything else is just
but Crush Rider, you're hitting the nail squarely on the head here. Because just think about this for a second. If I had a Brotherhood of Steel edition, and you had the other ones, and the only one you needed was the Brotherhood of Steel, you would pay big bucks to get that copy. I don't know any collector in any collection, whatever the hell it may be. I don't know any collector out there that is in it not to make money. Number one.
See, and that's why I'm a terrible collector, is because I collect for my own gratification. And stuff like that where it's expensive,
yep,
and they want you to collect a bunch of them. I'm flirting with death on that one, because now I have to answer to my wife why I have 5 copies of a video game that I can play one of.
but again, it is the thrill of the hunt to get it. And right now, Bethesda, I love the fact that they are trying to do something. I wish that they would have went further with it. Numbered editions, like what Fireball was saying, have different factions on these. Because at the end of the day, or here's a better idea, Bethesda or any company out there, have that one missing piece, and Crush Rider's going to hate me for saying this, but it's only available at our con, at BlizzCon, at BethesdaCon, or at MegaCon, or at Comic-Con, or what EA-Con,
E3,
whatever the hell you want to say it. But to get the Brotherhood
I
of Steel,
hate stuff like that.
I know you do, and I knew exactly when it came into my head. I'm like, Crush Rider's going to hate me bringing this up. But
I mean, there's a perfectly modern example of that, and that is limited time releases where you have to go to a specific store to
yep.
Pokemon doing mystery gifts where you can get a shiny version of the box legendary from the previous game. Only you have to go to GameStop and get the little card.
Okay.
Except people show up and they take the whole stack of cards and then now they're selling them online.
And like I'm gonna sound like uncle when I say this because I miss hard copies. I miss midnight releases. Sitting outside of GameStop waiting for the midnight release. I miss that. You got at GameStop at like 5 in the morning the day before to camp out, so that way you'd be one of the first ones in the store to get like that limited
I
edition.
I have waited in lines for midnight releases, but generally not more than a couple of hours.
Well, here's the thing, and I've been covering this extensively on Talking Tuesday. So for once, I have an educated answer to this. The reason why jewel cases are going away is because these companies are trying to maximize profit. I get it. That is the core function of any company. That's number one. However, the way to get around that, to maximize your profits, but yet give the niche player or the collector in us the opportunity to get that jewel case or get that special case that Fireball's talking about, is you have to pre-order it. We're going to open pre-order for the jewel case, maybe not the disc, but just a case. We're going to open this up from 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, and the damn thing's closing at 12:01 a.m. on Friday morning, and give it 24 hours only.
But
And
here's
the bots would have that server crash the entire time.
Well, I get it. Somebody that is smart out there, smarter than God's Father, can come up. I mean, hell, there's plenty of sites that I go to where you have to click this to be a bot or not to be a bot, and make it to where you can stop the bots from doing it, and maybe put on you can only order X amount. You can only order 4, and if they had special steel edition, you know, make it for $70. People are going to pay that. But $70, some are not going to spend, what is 70 times 4 or 7 times 4? They're not going to spend $320 or 340, whatever it is. I can't do math
280.
that quick off.
280.
Yeah, that too. They're not going to spend that much on it. However, the ones who do, they're going to hold on to that. But after that 24 hours is done, that's it. It's done. It's over.
Well, and again, there was a thing not too, or I guess it was too long ago, like a decade ago, where there are games that would be announced, and they're like you said, you'd pre-order, it'd be like pre-order the collector's edition, where it like, and the biggest one I can remember off the top of my head was when Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was announced. You could pre-order the collector's edition, and the collector's edition came with like a big Black Ops 2 style looking care package. And you would pop that baby open and there would be like a steel hard case inside. There would be like you would get it was almost like, do you know what loot crates are? Crest Rider?
Hmm?
The loot crates?
For various games, yeah.
Yeah, like where you could order a loot crate online and they would send it to you and you
Josh,
had
I'm going to be right back.
a bunch of stuff inside that you would get from it, and it would be like,
Oh, that loot crate. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
familiar with that one.
Yeah, like back then you order a collector's edition and you would get a like loot crate style thing where like with Black Ops 2, you got the big care package box, you open it up inside, you got a bunch of faction insignias, like you had the seal insignia from Black Ops 2, you had the SDC, you had the mercenary insignia. There was, I believe, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Because I think it was uh Yeah.
See, I always look at those various loot crate subscriptions, and they always advertise the coolest stuff that they have ever given out. Like, this is what you get every month.
Okay, yeah.
But then
Nope, go ahead.
they're just never anything.
So with the Black Ops 2, it was called Care Package Edition. You got the Care Package, you got in-game bonus content, Nuketown Zombies, Nuketown 2025. You got an exclusive Xbox Live Claw avatar prop and and Zombies avatar prop. You got a little MQ-27 like prop, Dragonfire prop inside that care package as well that you could set up on a display case. You had you had uh, a collectible steelbook. You had limited edition challenge coins. That Dragonfire was a remote control, so you could fly it around your house if you wanted to. You got official soundtrack CDs from the game. Like you had back in the day, you had great collector's editions like that, and you don't see that anymore. And that's like, and again, like you said, it eats away to their profit. But you have collectors out there that'll be like, I would pay, like, let's say the game is, just for instance, the game is $70. I would pay $200 for a collector's edition like have a cool little collectible that was limited edition only that I could set up on a like a bookshelf or display case. Like I said, different challenge coin. Again, it's just I know there's not many people out there that would be like, I wouldn't pay for that, but me, realistically, I'd pay for that. That would be really cool, especially considering the gaming collective that I am.
There are a couple that I'd be interested in. When Fallout 4 came out, I got my hands on the Pip-Boy edition, the collector's edition of that game.
Oh yeah.
Them going to put out a collector's edition now, I look at it and I laugh and go, that's nothing compared to the cool shit you put out when the game came out.
Wasn't the Pip-Boy edition? They gave you your own Pip-Boy that you could connect into your game, and you could sit there and like change stuff from your.
Yes and no. What it was is you had the plastic shell,
Mm-hmm.
and it used either a smartphone or an iPod. Depending on the model of smartphone,
Mm-hmm.
it had different. And I can break this out.
God.
It's stored back there. I just don't have an easy way to get to it right now. It had the bordering. I forget what they
Mm-hmm.
call that. The trim
Mm-hmm.
to make it look right. And what you did was you downloaded an app on your smartphone, and that connected to your console, and you could actually have it on your wrist and change shit. And you could be sitting there punching the button to use friggin' stim packs in game, and your character would be downing them like they're going out of style.
I remember, and he's gonna sit there and say, "You know what? Fuck you." I remember this. I remember I downloaded that app one day when Godfather was doing his playthrough of Fallout 4, and he didn't know it. So I was sitting there, and he'd get into a firefight or something, and I would change his gun just in the middle of the firefight.
Oh, that was annoying.
And he'd be using like the assault rifle, and all of a sudden I'd pull out a pipe pistol that he picked up in his inventory. So he'd be going from, oh, I'm winning this firefight to, this is a bare bones pipe pistol. What the hell just happened?
I almost broke my controller because. Comments. Check comments.
I don't.
Which platform are you on?
I'm
Check
on
the comments.
Twitch.
I'll check Facebook real quick.
No, I don't. We don't got anything on Twitch for now. But again,
If I break in, it means we have a comment.
you and again, collector's editions. They were great. You could charge more for a collector's edition if you got the right stuff in that collector's edition.
The Borderlands 2 collector's edition was an actual loot crate from the game.
That I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is the one thing that is missing from the gaming community right now. Seriously, like I don't know if there's any companies out there that watches or comes across Nomad Gamers or comes across Godfather, but that is what the gaming community is missing. We're missing these trinkets. You're missing a golden goose opportunity. Because if you were to number, and I know, and I said we wouldn't say his name again on here until he came back. I'm kind of missing him right now, but Chungus, me and Chungus got into it very heated one day about this exact topic because people were feeling like they were being left out. But that's what the gaming community needs. The gaming community needs the collector's items. They need the numbered, the limited edition numbered items to where I'm going to go out there and pay. Not really. If my wife is watching, not really. But I'm going to go out there and I'm going to pay top dollar to get the number 2 or to get the first ever, to get that number 1. Look at the car community. Okay? If you were to go out and you were to get a split back Corvette that is stamped number 1, you're a goddamn millionaire, a multi-millionaire.
And I will jump in because talking about the car community, Ferrari just created a F40, a one of one special Ferrari F40 like final edition that was literally they created a one of one and only one person is getting it.
Yeah.
Like that's
Now, I'm not saying keep it down to the first 500, okay? But some of this stuff needs to be, and I'm a big proponent of numbering because when I'm collecting something, I want to know where do I stand at? If I'm number 798, then I know there's 797 items that are more sought after than my piece. But then as you go into time, let's take WoW for instance. Okay, if you had a number 101 edition of a Stormwind, like a picture or a Lego set or something like I'm drawing a blank. But if you were to have item number 101 25 years later, how many of those other 100 are still going to be in circulation? How many of those other 100 are even going to still be around? That game, that's a
how
perfect
about
example right there.
one of these?
Yeah, perfect example. That is what the gaming community needs today. We need that more than what we've been talking about needing new games.
But here's the other thing, and this is where I feel like gaming companies are losing out on because they don't do these kind of collector things anymore. You have people within the community that will sit there and say, "Hey, we are making a replica, not like a like for Destiny community, for example. For example, if you've ever played Destiny, you get these little ghosts that you can that's basically like your lifeline to keep respawning and stuff.
Okay.
People in the community will have gone out and they will 3D print the ghost shell and then sell
Yeah. Now, if you had something from that company,
them.
I keep falling back to other collecting communities, and I'm going to keep falling back to this one. The baseball community. When you get something, I've got a signed photograph of a Chicago Cubs pitcher in the other room that has a certificate of authenticity with it. Now, if you don't have the two, yes, I could still sell it for some big money, but I wouldn't sell it for the full price.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I have those two together, I don't even want to. I don't even want to guess at how much money I would be getting. The baseball bat, the broken game used baseball. It's a broken bat, but it has a certificate of authentication behind it, saying yes, this was the real bat. Gaming, Bethesda, Rockstar, Activision, Blizzard, all these companies can come up with their own with that certificate of authenticity. And if you don't have the two together, down it goes because now we have 3D printing. Now we have a very smart world that these days that can replicate almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they're missing out on.
We got a lot to cover. I hate to say this, but we do have.
Oh
to
yeah,
move on.
we've been killing it on stuff. We're already an hour and 1 minute into our episode, which is fine.
And we've only covered 2 topics.
Hey,
I mean, and it's good.
2 or 10.
Again, we haven't been able to actually have a good, sustainable episode because there hasn't really been anything going on. This week has been amazing for gaming news.
Yes. All right.
But
What else?
Moving,
And we haven't gotten to any of it.
right. Moving forward, I do want to bring something up about Xbox.
Oh,
Xbox has taken
goddamn.
another damn L this week.
What they do?
because They have raised the market price on their dev kits by 33%. From $1,500 to $2,000.
You know, I'm going to say this, and I think everybody on here is going to agree with me. Microsoft is getting greedy, too greedy.
But not only are they saying that players must pay more to play their Xbox games, they're saying developers have to pay more to make the Xbox games.
Which
That's exactly what the dev kit is used for. Developers have to buy it in order to make the software to create a new game.
which in turn is going to drive the game price up. Because I don't care what anybody out there says, a company is made to make money. They're not going to absorb these costs. They're going to pass this cost off to the gamer. And that's wrong.
That's exactly what's going to happen. But it's also going to drive a lot of developers to suddenly go, I don't need to put that out on Xbox.
Nope.
Right.
I'll put it out on PC. I'll put it out on PlayStation.
Yep.
Speaking of,
If it goes on Steam and every Xbox can play Steam games anyway, why do I have to bother with a dedicated Xbox version?
exactly. Speaking of PlayStation and Steam, I am very excited to announce this because this is something that I've been waiting for. Halo Studios recreating Halo 1, and not just a remaster, they remade it from the ground up using Unreal Engine 5. They recreated the entire campaign for Halo 1, and they're also adding 3 new campaign missions that were never played before to Halo 1.
The part I didn't really understand is why did they stop at Halo 1? Why didn't they do like 1 through 3 all in a chunk?
So, and I know we don't like to talk about speculation on Nomad
Yeah,
Games,
we don't.
but from the people that I follow that deeply follow Halo, it is just the campaign for now. But they're also going to be remaking Halo 2 and Halo 3 on Unreal Engine 5, but they have to remake it.
I suppose that kind of answers my question. If they completely rebuilt the game from the ground up in the new engine and didn't just port it over, that would explain why they only had so much.
Because Halo, it's called Halo Campaign Evolved. That's what they're calling it. There's going to be no multiplayer with this new one. It's just going to be the campaign. But they're going to later, I think they said later in the year, they're going to bring the multiplayer out. They're just focused on remaking the campaigns on the new engine.
Well,
And it's not a remaster, it's a remake.
I am highly, highly excited to hear them say that. And when I say this, I'm sure Crush Rider is going to agree with me on this. One thing that I disagree with Fallout 76 on, and I've said it from day one, there was no story.
There was a lot of story.
But you know what I mean. It was not a single player story. It didn't fit the mold with the rest of the Fallouts. Because you were, and in the very early days, Crush Rider, we would never have met if it wasn't for PvP.
Yeah, we would have. We met each other because we were just out exploring.
And we got defensive because we were both at the ammunition factory. and I didn't know if you were going to attack me. I'm sure you didn't know if I was going to attack you. We ended up talking on Mike, and the rest from there is history. But what I'm saying is this is every game should have the single player storyline. And I'm going to fall back to a Rockstar title when I say this. My example for this would be something like Red Dead Redemption 2. You have an absolutely awesome single player story. And then you got your online.
Okay, I counter your point. I will say they should have a single player story. However, instead of doing the mass MMO aspect that they did in 76, go the way that they did with Far Cry. You know, you were able to play its story, but if you wanted, you could have a friend join in on your
Oh, co-op.
co-op. You could have a friend join in on your storyline, and y'all could play through together.
Well, this is something myself and Zark Crusher talked extensively about. It's been a year or two, maybe 3 years back that we talked about this. But I'm not big into co-ops. However, I am very much so in love with the way Rockstar did Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm using them as an example because they're the only ones that I can think of that does this. But when you go to their launch screen, you can either launch the storyline, the single player storyline where nobody else can mess with you, or you can go to online, which has its own story. And I did misspeak. Crest Rider is completely correct. There is a story in 76. But the difference with it being the storyline in 76, you can't craft a world in your imagination. Whereas in a traditional single player game, I can kind of craft and
There was more of an RPG aspect to it than there was.
yeah.
I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah. It like on Red Dead 2 storyline or Grand Theft Auto 5 storyline or Far Cry storyline, any of those, I control the world. I'm not worried about being defensive when another player comes up near me because I don't know if they're going to PvP. Fallout 76 has since taken that out of the equation because if someone tries to attack me and I don't reciprocate, then that attack is what, like very minimal. I could literally get away from them and not really worry too much about it. That's why whenever we played, I would punch Crush Rider, and when he punched me back, he didn't knock my block off. I just kind of got stepped back just a little bit. Yeah. And by the way, if you got punched by Crush Rider in Fallout 76, you knew it.
Well, yeah, that's because he fucking did a bloody melee build. Bloody.
I did not do a bloodied melee build.
No, he did not.
I did the Hulk build.
Yes, he did.
I used the same shenanigans that players would use for a bloodied build, but instead of sitting at that threshold of constantly dying, I stacked perks to make me stronger and more resistant the lower my health got. So essentially, I would turn into the Hulk. So while at full health, I'd be nasty, but as I got more hurt, I'd get even nastier.
I can personally attest
and
to that.
Gonzo Bull. I mean, I once I actually got up there and actually had the perks and stuff to actually make my heavy weapons build good. Gonzo would be like, "Hey, you accidentally shot me." I'd be like, and he'd turn around and he had this explosive handmade that if
I remember that gun.
If I accidentally hit him, he'd be like, "Bitch!" He'd shoot me, and before I could even get a second shot off, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a nasty weapon. All right, what else? We're on topic 3.
So
times are running. Tick, 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 tick.
If you want to hit your last point real quick, we can talk about it because I got something to say about it.
So Pokemon Legends Z to A had 5.8 million sales in their first week, which is slightly behind the Legends Arceus at 6.1, but still a respectable sales number nonetheless. AAA studios call that a failure. But if you're selling over 5 million copies, almost 6 million copies of something, that's pretty damn good in my book.
Get how it sold 5.8 million. It looks absolutely garbage. Pokemon Z3A looks so bad. The texturing on it is horrible. They didn't even make real buildings. They literally just put a backdrop up, fucking painted over it, and said, ta-da! If you walk up to it, you don't see any texture to it other than a blank wall. Other than a flat wall.
Boy, we struck a nerve with Fire.
And, like, again, they want you to pay $70 for that game.
Yep.
And
Hey, preach on, Fireball. Preach on.
They sue a game like Pal World because Pal World made a better game than Pokemon. Made it better. Made it like.
Well, here's the thing. They copyright it.
So I would just like to point out that I've got the game right there. You can see I'm ranked W, which means I haven't accomplished fuck all in the game so far. Right. I have 11 and a half hours of played time.
Well, like, you know what I mean, though, Crest Rider, right?
They didn't put any effort into it.
No, there's no effort into Z3A.
There are things that they could have done better, but I still find it to be an enjoyable experience. But I went into it with reasonably low expectations.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, trust me, I know Nintendo could do far better. Well, Game Freak specifically, they could do far better than they do. But at the same time, in spite of the fact that they give us more of the same every time, I want more of the same. Yeah. I enjoy the same. That's why I keep buying them. People think I'm a shill for Nintendo or whatever. It's like, no, I call them out on their bullshit. But they also have provided me with literally thousands of hours of entertainment over the last 25, almost 30 years. You got to give them some props for that.
Yeah, I will give them props for that. It's just visually, I don't like how Z3A looks just because of like, you could go up to an apartment building or you could go up to a building and it's literally just painted onto it. There's no texture to it. That's
so they've got a new way of. Let's see if I can figure this out. They've got a new way of doing screenshots through the mobile app. Let me see if I can get a screenshot of the game to illustrate what you're talking about.
All right. Well, moving forward, because we are kind of starting to get constricted on time, I will cover just this little portion real quick, just because it's Call of Duty, and I know you guys don't like it.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is making tweaks for Black Ops 7 because of Battlefield 6.
Yes, I reported on this on Thursday.
So, Call of Duty is now going to come out with 30 maps, both remaster and new maps. They are going to remove skill-based matchmaking. They are going to... Call of Duty is trying to step up their game because Battlefield 6 is blowing them out of the water. And I'm so happy for it because we're starting to get competition again.
Yes, and that's what I said on Talking Tuesday when I found this, and I wish our producer would stop dancing so I could pay attention. But this is what I reported on Talking Tuesday, is if you look back, I don't know, 25 years ago, there was competition in the first-person shooter. You had like 4 or 5 companies out there vying for that customer base. And over the years, a bunch of them dropped off, and before we knew it, the only thing we had left was Call of Duty. When it was just Call of Duty started going way downhill. Now that Battlefield 6 is very popular, and people are picking it up, and it's a huge success. Now you see Treyarch listening to their players, and from the beta, they're making big changes to some things. Now, granted, I don't agree with all the changes, and if you want to hear my comments on it, go back to Talk Tuesday. But there's a win here. The win is Treyarch is listening to the players. And when that happens, when you have the competition that makes the other company be better, you have a great game at that. So the what I said when Battlefield 6 was coming out is actually happening. Battlefield 6 is going to make Call of Duty 7 that much better. It just is. Now, how is it going to be received by the fans? I couldn't tell you as of right now. I just don't. But I will make another prediction on air, and I'm prepared to do this. You're going to see a drop in Battlefield 6 when Call of Duty 7 comes out. I have absolutely no faith in Treyarch Studios to keep the cheaters away from Call of Duty 7, which will then push their fans over to Battlefield. Battlefield 6 wins this round, hands down. I don't think Call of Duty can do anything about it
And we'll leave it at that because I know Chris Ryder does not like talking about Call of Duty.
right. He doesn't play.
So,
I just tune you guys out while you're talking about Call of Duty.
so do you guys know what Counter-Strike is?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Someone strikes you, so you counter strike.
So,
Duh.
Counter-Strike 2, the video game. They I'll just so there is a market within Counter-Strike where you
What are
can
you talking about?
the video game, Counter-Strike.
Oh, okay.
Counter-Strike 2.
Okay.
There is a market system. I see this. And she's gotta stop.
Yes. Yes.
Because the professionalism in this studio is starting to go down because of this.
Yeah, Crush Rider, you can't see it, but we're being distracted.
So, Counter-Strike 2, there's a skin market in the game where you can buy skins, you can sell skins, you can trade skins. Pretty much like there's
Okay.
a sub-market here.
Yeah.
It is being reported
Uh-oh.
that the market crashed and there was about $6 billion in skins lost because of it. Valve unannounced CS2 update erases about $3 billion in market skins.
That ain't good.
And from what I've been reading is there were people who had like their entire life savings in these skins because like they were very expensive and they like you would make some money off of them at the auction. And they lost it all because either those skins got taken out or those skins are like not being used anymore or they just oversaturated that certain skin. But yeah, it was about anywhere between $3 to $6 billion was lost.
Hey, a shout out to
sucks.
a shout out to Jason John Burkhalter. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the like too.
Yeah, it just I saw that and I'm like, man, because I would just nonchalantly follow it every once in a while just because it was something that kind of intrigued me. But yeah, there have been people that lost detrimental amounts of money because of this, and that just it's rough. Not only that, because I would say it kind of falls under that NFT umbrella, but
all right, so
there's one last point I got before we get off.
What's that?
Talking about Helldivers 2. I know we haven't talked about it in a minute.
I actually reported on it Tuesday.
This last update that they had was Into the Unknown or whatever this last update was. This last update is starting to brick PCs, causing the game to crash and brick their PCs to where they're like their motherboards are shorting out or their GPUs are crashing or whatever, and it's bricking the PCs.
Their last update, from what I read and what I reported on Talking Tuesday, they were having huge performance issues with the game now. Besides performance issues, this new update, the file size was off the charts. Like, for some of these games are finding ways to bring you your content, but with a lower file size. Helldivers went the completely opposite way. And they need to figure something out because that game is fun.
It's a great game, and I will say, like, with this last major update they had, where we were going to Terminate Hide Worlds, there was a bug where your audio would get very scuffed, and you would hear like 7 different things at once, and it was just a jumbled mess. I ended up having to not play Helldivers with audio, but at the same time, my frame rate would also drop, or like some. And right now, they don't have a bug that could fix this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they're in trouble right now. There's a lot of people that are not playing anymore. A, either because their PCs were bricked, or B, the game keeps crashing and it's unplayable. So
Yeah.
they need to turn something around.
Yep. Crush Rider, you got anything else for us today?
No, we got through all of my my talking points and about 87 more.
Yeah, about 87, 90 more.
Yeah.
Fireball, anything else?
No.
All right, let's go into closing comments.
No.
Crush Rider, you're up.
I got nothing. We had a real good conversation about World of Warcraft. We made some tentative plans to do a video of memories on it, and good enough for me.
Alrighty, Fireball. The one and only.
Again, probably gonna try to stream a few days throughout the week. Sad update I do have for you guys, for those who were paying attention and wanting to know more about the Minecraft server. The Minecraft server crashed and parts of it got corrupted. Gaming Utopia and I are working on trying to recover those files, but there was a good chunk of the SMP server buildings that were lost. So there was a bunch of save data that we had lost. So we have to go back through and work on that some. So
A work in progress.
it's a work in progress. The SMP probably will not be ready for another 3 months now.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Nomad Nation? All right, so tomorrow, Sunday, I'm going to be doing some chores around the house and trying to get a Sunday Fun Day stream in. However, the Ravens and the Bears are playing, so I'm going to try and watch that game as well. Monday, I'm going to have my stream up for about 2 hours, and then we got Talking Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening. Other than that, that's all I've got. Let's bring everyone back. Fireball.
Thank you guys for watching Nomad Gamers. Hope you guys like the new time frame we have for this. Think it's gonna work out a lot better for us, and we should have, if we don't have anything going on like we're supposed to,
Oh, good lord.
we'll be able to talk more. So we'll be able to have more time to talk about this kind of stuff. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Crush Rider.
This is Zanar Crest Rider signing out.
Peace and love. Godspeed.